Hello and welcome to Find of Facts, the show where we answer your burning questions. Today's fact, what's going to happen to all my Virgin points? The aviation industry is having a bumpy flight through 2020. Airlines around the globe are falling under the weight of total lockdown, and amongst those is Virgin Australia, who just last week went into voluntary administration. Finder's travel expert Angus Kidman joins me now, and Angus, as a travel fiend, how are you coping with this?
I'm having serious airport lounge withdrawal. Like, I'm so used to getting on a plane every week. I've never stayed in one place for so long in my life. So it's been an interesting challenge.
Okay, for those not in the loop, what exactly has happened to Virgin over the last few weeks?
So Virgin's had a particularly bad time of it. All airlines are struggling, obviously. There's been lots of staff layoffs, lots of issues, but Virgin has actually had to go into administration because their debts were so large they couldn't sort of keep operating the way they were. So going into administration means they're looking for a new buyer, and they're hoping that they'll get a new owner and that they will be able to resume flying when flying resumes for everybody. So it's better to go into administration than to go bankrupt and disappear, but it still makes their future pretty uncertain.
Right, so they're not completely gone yet. They still kind of exist.
Yeah, they still exist as a business. They're still running a small number of flights, mostly to get essential workers around and for freight and to get supplies around. So they haven't actually disappeared, but they've basically it's like putting up a white flag saying, yeah, we're going to need some help. We're going to need a different approach. We can't just keep operating the way we were.
Okay, so they're not completely gone. What happens to all our velocity points?
Well, yeah, this is what everyone's worried about. This is what I've been worried about. So Nothing in the short term. So Velocity is actually a separate company owned by Virgin, and it's not in administration. So in the short term, it's actually it's doing okay. What has happened is that there was been a 4-week suspension on actually redeeming your points. So if you've got a big pile of Velocity points, there's nothing you can do with them right now. You haven't got the ability to redeem them for anything. You can keep earning them though. You still got that option. So if you have a credit card that earns Velocity points, or if you're a member of Flybuys and you transfer those points across, or if you're dealing with other retailers who also let you earn those points, that still happens. So you can keep building up that total if you want to, but right now you can't actually redeem them for anything.
And what about travel status?
So travel status is being maintained. Like Virgin's eventually said, it's going to extend everybody's travel status by 12 months. So if you have one of the higher level statuses, you will be able to hang on to that and you won't have to meet those earning requirements. Obviously, to keep those statuses, you have to fly. No one can fly at the moment. So no one has to worry about their status in the short term. That's still been protected.
They've probably got a few refunds to honor as well. What happens with those?
Not at this stage. Yeah, there's a lot of travel credits is what they've got out there, because for all the flights that people couldn't take during April and May and June, their preferred option was to offer you a credit that you could spend later on. And that's the option that I took up for the Virgin flights that I had booked. And so, obviously there's a little bit of a question mark on what might happen with those. But if Virgin continues as a going concern, gets through administration, gets a new owner, then that credit will exist and will still be able to be spent. Exactly when it'll be able to be spent, we don't know. But at this juncture, I don't think there's any reason to assume that that's worth nothing, because there's been interest in helping Virgin out. There are companies that do want to buy into it. So the travel credits are going to sit there. It might be a while before we can spend them, but right now, I don't think that's a huge concern. I think those will be okay.
So they're honoring these refunds, but what does the future even look like for air travel? Like, can we even spend the money?
It's going to be a while. It seems to me quite plausible that in the second half of this year, we'll be able to start limited domestic flights and also possibly flights to New Zealand. That's being very actively discussed, the notion that, though, as two countries that have dealt well with the pandemic, we might be okay with people flying between. And of course, there's a strong economic relationship between the two countries, so there's an incentive to do that. So I do feel like in the second half of the year, there'll be the option to go flying. I don't think people are going to want to, though. I think a lot of people will be in this mode of, look, until I'm sure that there's actually a vaccine and I could travel without worrying about furthering infection, I don't know that we'll see as much airline travel. So in my own head, I'm making a lot of plans that are like, yeah, I'll probably fly a little bit in the second half of the year if I can, because I really do miss it. But for the most part, I feel like it's really going to be, we're going to get to 2021 and then we're going to go, right, okay, flying resumes, but it will be different. There won't be as many airlines. We might not see as many cheap fares for a while because it just won't be sustainable to offer them. So it's going to be interesting times ahead, I think.
Speaking on the future, have you seen AirAsia's new outfit? As a fashion icon yourself, I'm sure you've got a few thoughts.
I have, I know, and as a fashion icon myself, obviously I was keeping an eye on these things. And look, I'm all for it. Like, it makes sense. The reality is that if you're going to be flying, you do want to be protecting your crew and protecting your passengers. So even though it does look a little bit like some kind of cross between Margaret Atwood and a beekeeper. I don't know. It's all a bit strange. I could embrace that. Obviously, I prefer it if you could have that outfit with some Hawaiian print on it. But look, it's okay. It's just a sign of the times.
Where can people learn more about this?
So yeah, if you want to get all the details, we've got all of that information's available on the Finder site. You can check it out in the link below the video, and yeah, get like all the nitty-gritty detail about what's happening with Virgin and when we can expect changes.
Cool, thanks Angus. That's the facts for today. Make sure to comment. Tell me, what do you miss about velocity points the most? I miss staring at my huge number of points and thinking about where in the world I can go. Like, now I guess I can fly to Perth. Cool. See you next time. Hello and welcome to Finder Facts, the show where we answer your most burning questions. I'm not doing that again. Today's fact, where are all my Virgin points? Why did I shout that?